It is the technology show where we translate geek into regular speak. And as what seems to be the format for the last few weeks, I'm very lucky to have a guest co-host with me. So not just a guest of the week. In fact, I've actually even done a slide. Claudia, here we go. We got guest of the
Wow.
week and it's co-host of the week. Dun, dun, dun. Chink. So
Wow, how
Claudia,
special am I?
well, I've actually got a picture. There we go. Welcome to the
Oh,
show.
wow.
It's so nice to have you
Thank
in the co-seat with me. Angela, we do miss you. In fact, Claudia put a nice post out on LinkedIn saying that it's going to be hard to jump into your shoes and fill them, but it's definitely, I must say,
yep.
I am enjoying having different people sitting and not giving me as hard a time as you do, but we do miss you lots. So
Yeah,
Claudia,
absolutely.
as you probably know, I always do like a guest of the week. So when I have a guest co-host, I still like to save that segment for the end where we can get to really talk about and unpack what with small business is all about. So
Hmm.
if I don't keep to some form of normality, then I go off on many, many tangents and down many rabbit holes. So basically, I'm going to go into the first segment, which is Things with a Z. Now, you might not know this, Claudia. The reason I say Z is the original co-host on the show was an American. So this was the thing that I gave him was the Z. So we gave him the Z instead of the Z, but and it's just stuck. Um, so last week I did some cool tech. So this week I decided to do an app, and I've actually done this app before, but I'm doing the app again for the simple reason I've actually been using it. If you look at
Mm.
some of the posts that are going on online, everyone is stressed. Everyone's just super stressed at the moment. I don't know if you've come across this app at all, Claudia. Is this something that you've seen or heard about or played with? Or
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've dabbled in a number of sort of mindfulness, meditation, relaxation apps over the last decade or so. So I know that this is a really popular one. Yeah, so looking forward to hearing what you've got to say about it.
So I thought I'd bring up some screenshots, and a couple of reasons why I actually chose this app and why I'm mentioning it again. So first of all, I've
Mm.
used Calm way before, like when it first came out, and I quite enjoyed it. But obviously, my stress levels weren't there to the point that I really needed it. I didn't feel that it warranted the subscription. There is a free trial, and then you move into a paid subscription mode. And then the nice boys and girls at American Express sent me an email a few months ago. So I'm not sure if this offer is still on. In fact, if you are an American Express, what's the right word, customer card holder, you can go and have a look
Mm.
see. Maybe it's still on. But basically, they gave me a free year of Calm. That's like about $160
Mm.
worth. So it's really a good deal. That was just for having an American Express, and what you did is you linked your card to to the Calm app. And like all good subscriptions, they're probably holding thumbs that you forget to cancel in a year's time. Shout out
Yeah.
to Tim and the team at Get Reminded. It's another great app to remind you to cancel things that you don't want to pay for. Um, but so
Yeah.
I got that for free. I'd used Calm for free. I was feeling like a bit overwhelmed. This was kind of like when COVID was really hitting. Melbourne was in deep lockdown. Everyone was just stressed. So I thought, I'll give it a go again. And I have to say, fast forward a few months, I've been using it regularly. I still can't tell you the end of any story, which means that the app's working. So if you look there on the right-hand side over here, it's got a section called Sleep Stories. So you got meditate, so you
Mm.
can sit at any time of the day and just zone out and meditate. But what the sleep stories do, and this one here, this Blue Gold by Stephen Fry, I feel sorry for Stephen Fry's friends and family because if he really talks like that in his everyday life, then there's just going to be people falling asleep everywhere. Um, the idea with the sleep story is the story itself. I don't know if it's good or not, but it just puts you to sleep. You listen to this
Do
voice.
you think do you think you drop out at the same time, or is sometimes you wake up the next day and go, "Oh, I got a bit more of that story last
No, I
night."
think I drop out the same time. You know, the problem for
Okay.
me though is I don't stay asleep. So the app does what it needs to do, and then like maybe a
Yeah.
couple hours later, the brain starts going again. But they have got soundscapes and like the ocean sounds and the wind through the leaves, and but it's a beautiful app. So a lot of the, normally I need an app to look beautiful as well to warrant it being an app of the week.
Yeah. I mean, the
Um,
visuals here certainly give you the visuals here certainly give you, as soon as you see them, it gives you a mood of calm and lightness. So they obviously are doing a great job in terms of the visuals. And look, I think most of these apps are, built to support or moderately impact, anxiety, depression, stress, that kind of thing. Obviously, not the deep psychological problems that people have, but in terms of its variation, with the sleep, I've heard that there's celebrities that read some of those sleep stories. Is that
they
true?
do.
McConaughey
Yes,
and
it is. Yep, he's there. As I
Harry
said, I've only got
Styles,
past the first
even
one.
Bob Ross. Yeah,
There actually were a few name brands. I even think there was Shawn Mendes. He's the singer, so he
yes,
reads
right.
one of the stories as well. But I haven't got there yet. So I don't know if I'm going to
Yeah,
run out of my year subscription beforehand, but I haven't got there.
I know. I sort
Um,
of want to get on and I want to get on and listen to the Matthew McConaughey one and go, is that going to help me sleep? Or, I know his movie Wolf of Wall Street, which is a classic in. So I'm not sure how I'd go connecting with a celebrity voice. So I'm wondering if that's working for them. Maybe to attract people in to listen.
Look, I must say that it's beautifully curated. It's
Mm.
well articulated. It does work well. The functionality of the app's great. Even just the soundscape. So what I did it wasn't quite sleep time for me yet, but I put the meditate one on. I was just going through a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
of emails and just like, decompressing as such.
Hmm.
And just the sounds, like it was just these sounds that help you switch off. And I think that's
Yeah.
important. We are being bombarded at the moment with so much
Mm.
negativity. There's just so much
Mm.
stress, so much negativity, so many bad things going on. That
Yeah.
if you can use tech to help you get past it, then why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just
In, interesting that you said that, because my husband and I get up. It's sort of our only exciting thing in the day. Get up, and because we live near the beaches, we're allowed to sort of go out for a walk. And this morning we went out, and he walked past one of the gentlemen that he usually goes to the gym with, and his friend was there with his wife, and we were sort of walking apart, but we literally had maybe 30 seconds interaction with them. And afterwards, I said to my husband, oh my goodness, like the positive energy from a social interaction,
yeah,
so short, is so noticeably different, because we're just not doing it. We're doing it with people in our home. So I just went, wow, you really realize how much you're missing, with that social interaction. So to your point, to be able to find other ways to tap into things that can inspire, or aspire, you in some way, is really, really important right now. I actually had a bit of a giggle because I noticed on this app that they are they got the award for the happiest app in the world, and that was from the Centre of Humane Technology.
no,
I thought
really,
you'd want to be holding on to that one, right? The happiest app in the world. That is ours.
that's
They
very
don't have a
cool.
year. They don't have a year on when they were given it, but I'm going to just hold on to that
That's very cool.
one.
And the other nice thing
Yeah.
that they've done, which I think is really clever, so they've built a web app as well. So you get it on iOS and Android, but then you can
Yes.
also do it on your PC. So now if you're sitting and
Yeah.
working and you just want to have the sounds playing, or maybe you do. I actually reviewed this a couple of weeks ago. I've got an app that makes me exercise. It actually shuts down my machine. It blocks
Oh,
all my
wow.
windows, and then
Yeah.
I can cancel it, but then I have to do
Yeah.
something. And it's normally to stand up, or even like I noticed you were drinking out of a water bottle. I'm drinking out of a glass. But you can take the
Yes.
water bottle and use as a roller along your legs or along your arm
Oh,
for calm.
wow.
So very clever
That's
app.
very creative. Very
Yeah, very
creative.
cool. So this
Yeah.
being web-based means I could just sit here and take 5 minutes to myself, do a quick
Mm.
meditation, but without having to leave my desk. So
Yes.
good on them. As I said, there's a free trial, so you are welcome to try it first before you buy, which is great. And who knows, if you go to American Express or just Google it, maybe the offer's still available. I don't know if there was an expiration. I said this was quite a few months ago, but worth having a
Mm.
look see. So that's
Mm.
my app of the week.
Nice.
And where are we now? Oh, okay. So do you have any reason why I'm showing you the latest and greatest in technology on your screen right now?
Hmm.
I'll put you I'll just do a little. Actually, I'm looking at those phones. I had so many of those phones and still
Not
have
anything to
them.
do with 5G, is it?
No, it's not. And none of those were even 2G, I don't think. Most of them are GSM looking at these phones. So what it actually is those phones are now those
Oh,
medals.
yeah,
Um,
very clever.
I watched a whole, like, I think it was on Current Affair or one of our local news broadcasts. They showed the whole process behind getting the residents of Tokyo to donate all their old phones and old tech.
Yeah.
And then, from there, they get all the precious metals. There's gold, there's platinum, there's all kinds of materials inside technology. And they use them to make the medals for the Tokyo Games. So I thought that's pretty cool. Like, there's no.
I know. I read about that and I just went, oh wow, like love that they're thinking, sustainability, recycling in all of their preparations for the games. I sort of got to be interesting to see what. Obviously, we've got Paris next, but by the time it comes back to Brisbane, we're going to have to be thinking, really large in terms of, sustainability, recycling,
QR
reusable.
codes.
Pardon?
A
What was
QR
that?
code. You'll have a QR code around your neck. Just scan this. Oh, that's gold. There we go.
Yeah.
In fact,
Exactly.
what's our
Watch
minister
this
that's
space.
always on LinkedIn? Victor Dominello, I think his name is. Victor Dominello, Victor Donicello. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly.
Yeah.
But he's always showing off the latest and greatest, like with Services New South Wales, and you can put your driver's license and that. If he had his way, he would do that. He would put a QR code in, and when you're standing up on the podium, you would just hold your phone, and we can all scan it and see what you got. It'd be
Oh,
another way of using
oh.
tech. Or your glasses will have your glasses will have a little camera that just projects, whether you got gold or silver. But I
And
liked it.
I don't doubt the technology at all. Like that's the thing. But then you go, at what point is that continuum between satisfaction and real life experience crossover to look how fancy the tech can go, right?
Yep. Now, this next slide, I tell this story quite often. So I thought I'd actually prove it because a lot of people have called me out on this. And I actually did some research and I found the picture. So the
Hmm.
really good looking guy on the right is me. No one
I
can
thought I
argue this.
recognised him.
Yeah, there we go. Now that picture says 7th of June 2010. So that's quite a while ago. Do you know who that guy is that's standing next to me? So I'll
No,
tell you. That's Jack
vaguely
Dorsey.
familiar. Oh
And
wow, okay.
that there in the background is the little kitchenette when the days of benefits of working for a startup. And that is the startup that is Square. That is where Square started in San Francisco. Was in a little
Oh my
office
God.
inside Twitter's old main building. And I went over to have a meeting with Jack about Square for the South African market. And this picture was
Hmm.
taken. I was actually going through my pictures and I found it. And I actually had to send it to someone because I'm saying, oh, you've never met Jack Dorsey. So I've met Jack Dorsey. But the reason why this is tech news for today, there we are, Square, is how
Yeah,
amazing is this? We're talking about medals. I think we're number 4 in Tokyo at
yeah,
the moment on the medal table. But when it
yeah.
comes to deals, these two guys out in Melbourne, I think it's the biggest deal that's ever happened for an Australia acquisition at
Yeah,
$40
absolutely.
billion.
Yeah.
So well
And they were
done,
just
guys.
neighbours. They were neighbours, and they talked about, that's how they came up with the concept.
Yeah,
I'm going, oh,
yeah.
I've got to get out on the street more and talk to my neighbours about some
I
good
sent him.
ideas.
I sent him a message. I sent him a message saying, "Look, I know you're in Melbourne. Well, he's in San Francisco now." I said, "I know you live in
Mm.
Melbourne, and I'm in Sydney. Can we just pretend that we're going to go outside? I got like 40 ideas I'd love to bounce off you, mate." And that was before this acquisition. So I think I need to send him a message again and going, right, now you got gazillion billion dollars. Here's my rubbish bin. I'll maybe send a picture of myself with my little red or yellow bin outside. But what an amazing,
Oh,
amazing achievement. I mean, we've had some amazing unicorns pop up out of Australia. Canva was another great success
mm,
story. But
Canva,
this takes the cake.
absolutely.
I mean, it's unbelievable how successful these guys have been, and good on
Yeah.
them, you know.
And I think it's really good timing for them, because not just from how long that road is for them ultimately to scale and capture the US market. I mean, I think I read that about 14% of the Australian New Zealand market utilise their product, but about 2% of those in the US. And that space, the what is it, the BNPL
BNPL, buy
space
now,
with
pay later.
with PayPal and Apple coming out with Apple Pay, they're only going to accelerate really quickly. But for these guys, for our little Australian friends to have this deal done right now, it's just going to give them the extra strength, in the US market to really scale and grow. Where they, at the moment they are dwarfed obviously by PayPal and Apple Pay, but it's great to see that with an amazing partner that is really going to accelerate their growth. And the footprint of that Australian brand. So very cool, and gives a lot of us entrepreneurs some confidence that we can do big things.
100%. So I'm looking at my comments and my notes and stuff, and I'm definitely in the recycle mode today. I'm recycling phones, I'm recycling old photographs, and I swore I wasn't going to use this slide again. So Claudia, you weren't part of the shows, but I think I've used this slide 3 weeks in a row. Last week I didn't use it, but I used it 3 weeks in a row, and I said, right, this is the last time I'm using it, but I had to bring it out again. So this was like Richard went first, so his rocket's doing the right thing, and Jeff went second. And then next time I did my slide, Jeff's rocket changed a little bit because he did get up there.
Yeah.
But I had to bring the slide back out of retirement and in the spirit of recycling, and put these palookas up. So, I mean, we were talking just before the show with Telstra and the connectivity. If there wasn't ever a comparing size campaign, then Optus gets the cake for this one. So for the people that don't know what I'm talking about here and going, okay, Brett, get to the point. So it's very simple. We've got 5G. I actually have Optus 5G at home. And Telstra has always been the bigger network and the more coverage network, and they've got all these accolades that they use. So Optus went and got Ookla, which is what most people know as speedtest.net, which is powered or owned by Ookla, where you test speeds, and they got a 5G speed test done. Because also what happens with telcos, and this is all over the world, this is not just Australia, as soon as one telco says one thing, the other telcos spend every waking moment and their overpaid lawyers trying to find a way to take them up in front of the advertising tribunals for false or misrepresentation. And this is global. This is not just here. And I've done lots of work in telco. So what they did is they went and got an independent party, Ookla, and they ran a speed test. And I mean, we're really talking about rocket sizes here, and I'm using that reference in its emoji eggplant sense. The Optus test came back at 310 megabits, which is good. And the Telstra came back at 295 megabits. So from an advertising campaign, from a legal campaign, from a, are we allowed to say it? Yes, hence they get the bigger rocket. Honestly, would I go and sign up with Optus because I got, 15 megabits a second on one isolated test in one area? No. So well done, guys.
But you're in tech. You're in tech though, right? So most people will go, "Oh my God, the tide is changing. Let's, we need to consider." Absolutely. Listen, I'm in marketing, and that's what people do. I don't do it that way, but that's what people do.
I mean, the reality is, look, for me, the 15 megabits would make a difference. Sure. There's gamers in this family. My son and I are gamers. So, you need that technology, but basically to go out and build a campaign roundabout, and they don't talk about the speeds. They just say Australia's fastest 5G network. And so I'm like, guys, come on, 15 megs on a, and it depends when you do this test, right? If you come and do it here, first of all, I run 400 to 500 megabits a second where I am. Now, that's because maybe I'm the only one on 5G in my area. There's so many things that affect it. But anyway, well done to them. They've claimed it. They're going to own it. And we are going to see a follow-up from this, I'm sure. But moving swiftly along. So staying in my theme of recycling, So the whole idea behind the show is to try and give useful information and to dumb down geek wherever possible.
Yes.
I had an old MacBook that just was not doing what it needs to do. And before everyone starts with me and going, oh, the Apple fanboy is saying something negative against Apple, I'm not. I'm talking about an old MacBook. You get old PCs as well. And this advice I'm about to give applies to everyone, PC or Mac. So this machine just was not coping. As soon as you had multiple browsers open, multiple files open, it just crashed. So I replaced the HDD, so that's the hard disk drive, which is what most old machines came with. Some new ones come with it, with an SDD, solid state drive. And not only is this machine flying, but it's handling all the open pages, all the everything. So I've basically brought life to a machine that you would throw out. So again, the Apple fanboy, yes, but this applies to Windows as well.
So question though.
Yes.
Sorry, but question. When I look at this HDD and SSD, I wonder, with the evolution of technology and the cloud and all of that kind of stuff, where do these devices play a part in the future? And that is my completely non-geeky self asking this question, because I'm going,
Great question.
Isn't that stuff olden days, old storage?
No. So let me answer the question with an example as well. So the Chromebook came out a few years ago. And the idea behind the Chromebook is because Google has everything, right? They've got the Drive, which is where you store. They've got their version of Office, so their Gmail, what's it called? Sheets, Docs, slides. Yeah, so they've got everything that you could use. And because most things are web-based nowadays, you just need a web browser. In fact, we broadcast using the web. There's no apps to download. We just log on to a URL. The problem was, and the reason why Chromebooks failed at first, is you still need to work offline. You still need to be able to take your data offline and work with it. Telstra might be down because they're not the fastest network in Australia on 5G.
Not today, or the other.
You just want to back it up or something. So you'll never, ever replace the need for a hard drive. And when the Chromebooks then version 2 started coming out with hard drives, then their popularity increased because you had the ability to go offline and store for non-connected areas, and then you had the ability to use it. So you'll never, ever not have a hard drive. And also remember that the operating system has to sit somewhere. So whether you're using Windows, see I did Windows first, whether you're using Windows or Mac OS, it takes 8, 10, 15 gigs of space. So you have to put it somewhere.
Yeah, right. I think that's why you're running the technology show, not me.
Well, there's other things as well if you're conscious about the environment. So the power consumption in wattage, now I'm really going into geekful, on a solid disk versus a hard disk, I think is about a fifth. So it uses like 2 to 5 watts of energy instead of like 15 to 20 watts, which also means that your battery will last longer if you're running on battery on a laptop. Your startup, your shutdown is quicker. In fact, on a solid state, it's basically instantaneous. It's like a cell phone. You turn the screen on and it's there. So there's a lot of benefits to it. Now, the last reason why I brought this into today's show is if you're sitting, and I'm talking about specifically Windows here, if you're sitting with a Windows laptop that's running Windows 8, and there are a lot of those still out there, that has enough hardware. Now, here I can't talk about whether your hardware is correct or not because I don't use a Windows machine. But if you have enough RAM and the right process, and it's just a quick Google search will tell you, my suggestion is to go and get yourself a solid state disk and get a copy of Windows 10 and put that on. Not 11, Windows 10. One, the price of Windows 10 is going to come down because 11 is about to release. 2, it gives you a brand new feel machine because you get a whole new lease on life. And 8 is going to be retired once 11 comes out. So you're going to find a lot of security issues, a lot of support issues. So you're going to get speed. You're going to get basically a new clean machine. So you get rid of all the rubbish that you shouldn't have or wish you could get rid of. And give a couple of years more life to your machine. So that would be my tip as to, and I've just done it with an old, this Mac is 9 years old and it's now running. And something you can do yourself because the old machines were really simple to open. This was 4 screws on the back, two
At
little
the back,
levers.
yeah.
It was really cool. I mean, the new modern machines are sealed. You can't really get into them. And if you can, there's
No,
so many
you break
wires.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So that was
yeah.
my, again, recycle. I should have renamed the show Recycle Show.
I
But anyway.
know. Look at you.
Oh, Zoom. So
How
yeah,
are you
we've
going to bring
all,
this one in? How are you going
sorry.
to recycle this one? I said, how are you going
Well,
to recycle Zoom?
I can't, but what I can do is I can click here and go. So Zoom just got
Oh,
hit with an 85 million US dollar fine for giving users information out to Google and Facebook and that. The next bit of action that's going to probably come against them is it's a terminology called Zoom bombing. Um, Now, what that is when you allow other people to hijack your Zoom meeting. I'm sure you've seen these memes that go around. There was a school here that had an incident where you're in a Zoom
yeah,
call and all of a sudden someone appears that doesn't belong there. That's called Zoom bombing.
yeah.
So
Well,
the
when
photo
I heard that
bombing,
term, when I heard the Zoom bombing, what I actually thought it was about people at home working, and then they've got their dog like bombing in, or they've got somebody else walking around. So I was thinking that's what it was, but didn't really realize it's a serious cyber harassment, issue where, whoever's taking over. And I thought it was quite interesting because they're saying that, the trolls of the internet, they're also under quarantine. So I was talking again with my husband the other day, and we were saying how, crime has it reduced because, everybody's at home, and then here you go, just new ways to invent,
yep.
new crimes, right?
So what you were saying with the dog and that, I mean, there's also been a couple of ones where the guys have been naked and walking through the back and that. And that makes me think of the photo bombing. When people were taking tourist
Yeah,
pictures, you quickly jumped in and
yeah,
did that. But where this gets a lot more serious, so besides the obvious negative aspect of Zoom bombing in the sense that
mm,
someone's there that doesn't belong or doesn't contribute, but what happens if it's a big Zoom presentation? I think on the top tier license, you're allowed to have 400 people attend a Zoom webinar or presentation. Now, if you're in a big company, and there's lots of big companies that have more than 400 people in them, right? So, what happens if someone is trying to gain information on your company and what you're doing? They're just a little face
yeah.
inside the wall of faces that 99% of the time the person presenting wouldn't have a clue who 30% of the employees
That's
actually
people
are.
were. Yeah,
So
yeah,
Zoom is,
absolutely.
Zoom needs to be held accountable for this. There needs to be two-step factor authentication to get into a call. You can't just save a Zoom meeting. My wife does training with a personal trainer, again, with lockdown, and she can't go to gym and that, so they do it via Zoom. Every
Mm,
single time she logs in, she has to put in the passcode. She can't just
yes,
go like save the Zoom meeting because it's the same time every day and join.
yes.
The
I
trainers
mean,
turned that off.
I, I do remember, after our first sort of initial COVID lockdowns and our first wave and everything, that because everybody was moving to Zoom, and there were a lot of those security issues that many people came out and said, oh, Zoom's not safe. And I know that I could tell that Zoom worked very hard to improve their security because, they've introduced so many different features and things. So I've gone, okay, they've obviously improved that. But this case is a recent case, isn't it? So we're still saying that from a security perspective, they haven't really delivered on the goods because, yeah, wow.
And the part with big tech, and this is probably why so many governments, ourselves included, are so with the antitrust campaigns and that, is they hide behind their terms and conditions. Can you
Mm.
honestly tell me you've read the terms and conditions of the things that you've signed up for? No. You'd be lying if you said you've read all of them. No one has. Well,
No, no,
maybe
no.
one
Yeah,
person has, but I
maybe.
haven't. And they
No.
even, and what they do is they make you scroll through it before the accept button
Yeah, so it looks like you're
appears.
reading it so they can feel better about themselves.
Correct. Now, you shouldn't be able to finger swipe through it at speed, right? You should
Mm,
have
mm,
to actually be able to move through it at the pace that would take you
mm.
so long, you might as well read the damn thing anyway. So they
Yeah,
moved accountability from themselves and put it square on us saying, oh, as per section 87.3.4 subsection BV2, you agreed
yeah,
to that. I'm like,
yeah.
really? Where did I
I
see that?
know.
Oh, no, it's there. So they do need to be held accountable for that because more importantly,
Mm,
or my concern is Our kids are now studying at home.
Yeah.
They don't use Zoom, they use Google Classroom and Teams and all the other things. But the point is that, these are kids. There are a lot of predators out there, a hell of a lot of
Yeah.
predators, and they're clever.
Yeah.
It's easy enough for them to get in. They can see what time of day these kids are doing it. They can learn about them. They can find out their names. It's
Yeah.
you really are opening up a whole can of worms. So besides the corporate espionage, the actual personal affray, that's
The impact.
concerning.
Yeah. No,
Anyway,
absolutely.
what else do I have in my bag of tricks here? Haha, Dabus. I'm actually going to click the next slide straight away because it's just so long-winded. Device for the autonomous bootstrapping of unified sentience. Now, if Angela was sitting next to me, she was going to go, "Oh, really, Brett? Really?" Like, no. So, for all those people that don't know what the device for the autonomous bootstrapping of unified sentience is, basically, and Australia is one of the first countries in the world to approve it. This is a system that allows artificial intelligence to come up with inventions and file patents and own those patents. That's where the sentience comes into it. So basically, machines
Wow.
can now think up products or services, anything that's patentable, file the patent, and own the patent. And they are sentient, they don't exist. So they're not held by a holding company. America has said no. Australia said yes. We've approved the law that says AI can be a holder of patent. Now, fast forward 30 years.
Wow.
What happens? How do you transact? How do you move ownership? Because can one sentient being or server, I don't know what to call a sentient something, can one
Yeah.
sentient organism pass on their technology or their patent to a natural person or a juristic body? So very interesting. This is something, okay, I mean, I'm really geeking now. There's people probably like drool coming, oh, Brett, where are you going with this? But,
I
if
think
you,
interesting to your point that the Australians have said yes and the US have said no. I would have thought it'd be the other way around.
me too, actually. I also would have, look, it's not to say that they won't eventually approve it. But for now, they're
Mhm.
obviously taking it under consideration. And then, it's all just so new and weird. But what's very interesting about this is that when you start giving intellectual property rights to effectively intelligence, which are servers, they're not anything,
Mm.
then what
Mm.
happens next? Can they apply for citizenship? Do they get the same type of rights? I've always said the day that it comes when it becomes illegal to swear or abuse one of our smart speakers or servers, like Siri or Cortana,
Yeah.
I'm in so
Yeah.
much trouble because if they've been
Mm.
recording what I've said to her over the years, there's going to be police at my door coming to get me. Um,
Yeah. Probably
so
all of us. We'll all be locked up and Siri will be free.
So yeah, Davis, it's if you are at that level of geek, if you follow AI, machine learning, all these type of things, then something to keep an eye on, especially in Australia. And the last
Yeah.
slide I've got, which I've recycled again. So this slide was on last week. Um, Basically, Zoho came to the party and they were now giving Zoho invoice for free. We spoke all about it. The reason why I've recycled this one, as I said, it's not going to be in the mall. I mean, we don't have Zoho in the mall, and I'm very pleased to say, as of now, we do have Zoho in the mall. So not only can you get your free copy of Invoice, but if you want to go into a paid version of Zoho and all the features that Zoho offers small businesses, get over to the smemall.org. Just type in the word Zoho and search, and you'll get there. So I
Yep, I
said
did
last week I
find
was
that
going to
again.
try and
That's
get arranged.
exciting.
It's there. So there,
Yeah.
along with the 180 other vendors and affiliates that we've got there in the mall. And that brings me to the end of my business news. Now, before we go into question and answers, because I've actually got some questions based on who you are. I said at the beginning of the show we were going to talk about you and what you do. So let's talk about what you do and what with small business is all about.
All right. So with small business, we basically provide e-commerce advice and tools and experts for small business owners to grow in e-commerce. We started the business because I wanted to find an affordable way to actually support small businesses, particularly in the digital environment. I mean, with all of the technology and the apps, the space is becoming really, really challenging. And you need a degree to run Facebook ads, you need a degree to run Google ads. Small business, entrepreneurs, very creative people. They're trying to run the rest of their business, whether it's product and service, innovation, operations, finance, their staff, their accounts, inventory. There's so much for them to worry about, but now or for them to focus on, when digital marketing's become such a complex or a digital maze to navigate. So having been in marketing and strategy for sort of over 25 years, I've taken a lot of everything that I've learned along the way and really built out more of a simplified approach that's based on strategy and it's based on sustainable growth. So it's not about run a campaign, get some sales, and what am I going to do next? Run another campaign, get sales, because that does not work with algorithms. Algorithms like an always on, and then it can optimize to grow your business. And unfortunately, 95% of the small businesses that I work with, don't know that, and they're sort of applying the traditional marketing strategy approach to digital, rather than dripping in a few dollars every day to learn and get insights. They're putting in for a campaign and then they stop, and then algorithms forget who you are, all of that kind of stuff. So that's what how we're trying to support small business.
Awesome. I actually want to jump in there for a second. So, we're a lot of small, and it's so great to have you on the show because, as you know, once you've done that strategy and the planning and that as well, we also try and support small business. Actually, as I just discussed, was the small medium enterprise mall is a place to actually sell your products and services. But this is the thing that we get as well. Is like people build a shop, they go, okay, well, I've got no sales. I'm like, well, what are you doing to tell people that you've got sales? We're just an engine. When you walk into a Westfield, Westfield doesn't go and put an advert out on the TV saying, hi, come and see XYZ retailer in our shop. That's not what they do. You've got to tell people that you're in the Westfield Mall, and Westfield themselves will bring you traffic because of other people, and that's why you're in a marketplace. So when I deal with the small businesses, exactly what you're saying as well, they'll spend $20 on Facebook and they hit the boost button, and I'm like, oh my God, that's not e-commerce.
I know.
And it's interesting, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you just toss your money in that way, yeah, exactly. So it's interesting. I did a couple of masterclasses recently, and we talked about the difference in digital, and the whole piece is that execution piece. So yes, we plan our marketing objectives, and we know who our target audience is, and we do our SWOT analysis and our unique selling proposition. All that stuff is the same. But when you get to the execution, that's where the real difference is. And to your point, it's not a retail store where you've got foot traffic. How are you going to get people there? And it's really easy to lose money in digital without having a real plan and without testing. The digital marketing, the digital environment is an amazing environment to test your products and to learn, and your services, to learn what the market wants, how you should speak to the market, what's grabbing them about your offer. So approaching it to learn, particularly in the early stages, rather than to just drive cash, because that's where your return on investment isn't going to be at a place that's going to support the growth of your business and the cash flow of your business.
Now,
and exactly to be in a mall like you guys. Yeah, sorry.
No, carry on.
And I was just going to say, like, to be in a mall like you guys, I mean, you've got a fantastic brand, SME Mall, SME Association, you've got a fantastic brand there that all of your small businesses, 180 sort of different vendors, they can be leveraging that brand, as well as having the opportunity to be selling, in your mall. So they should really think about this as a great, opportunity to leverage that brand by mentioning you guys in posts. And looking at how they can actually use your credibility to support them as a real business.
So, Claudia, thank you for that. And I'm actually going to lay a challenge, the same as last week. I had a Zoho slide and said, watch, by next week we'll have Zoho in the mall. I'm gonna have to do the same thing, and I'd like to see with small business having a shop in the mall as well. But jokes aside, we built that with services in mind as well. Now your business is a service business where,
Yes.
I had a look at the website. It's really not a lot of money to join your program from a monthly point of view to be able to speak to experts. And this is the other thing that's quite important for all the people that are listening out there that are thinking about e-commerce, thinking about getting into e-commerce. It is very, very lonely. You do not have a physical shop front where you're sitting there, where people are walking into your shop and going, "Hi, Brett, how are you?" and having a conversation. You are literally staring at a screen and data and metrics. One, it's boring. Two, it's lonely. And three, it can become incredibly frustrating if you don't have the right partners in place to help you out. So by engaging with a company like yourself and you and your team, where you've got content, you've got the do's and the don'ts, and this is because it's been tried,
Yes.
it's definitely. And the other thing I saw in there as well is you've actually got a 14-day free trial as well. So there's no
Absolutely.
risk for anyone that wants to find out more about e-commerce, more importantly, the strategic side of e-commerce. So this is not about going out and building the store and loading it and putting in 3PLs, and I can carry on with all the other fancy terminology. This is about the actual do's and don'ts, the mentoring and understanding of what e-commerce and marketplace transactions are all about. Is that a good summation?
Yeah, absolutely. We've included groups that are similar to Facebook groups where we have experts for each of what I call the e-commerce pillars. Because as a small business owner, to your point, it's so hard to tap into experts. I know I was a couple of months ago, people said to me, "Oh, you're a real marketer." I'm a certified practicing marketer with the AMI. But I was going, "What do you mean?" But with the shift, with COVID and everyone going online, everybody's saying, "Oh, I do digital marketing." And 1 out of 2 small business owners that I meet have people, they're paying people to do work that are not getting the work done for them. So what we wanted to do is to make experts that know our best practices and that are trustworthy for small businesses, that you can just access them anytime. Once you're a member, you can just direct message anybody. We've got our guy, our data guru, Andrew. We've got somebody on conversion rate optimization, someone on SEO, someone on email, someone on digital ads. And so even if you've got somebody doing that for you and you've got a question, you just jump on and direct message them. So it's not about, oh, I've got to look it up on the internet or I've got to call an agency or and so it's the auditing of some of the existing things that you're doing and being able to have a credible source of advice that you can trust. So we've got the experts in each of the pillars that are there that you can direct message anytime. We've also got the how-to instructions, which if you're a real get up and go and you've got a bit of technical nous about you and you want to get some of the stuff done yourself, well, we've got the full sort of instructions so that you can cost efficiently do stuff and that you're implementing the best practices, because we keep everything up to date. And we all know in digital, things change every single day. They said, I think Google update their algorithms, I think I read 2 to 3 times a day. And that can have a huge impact on small business, particularly when it comes to their organic traffic that they've been working on and investing in. So this is a place where small business owners can come and pay a small monthly fee, but have a trusted environment to talk to experts.
Well, I mean, you're
and so we're
basically
really
employing 5 or 6 people for the price of a good lunch. That's the reality.
exactly. Actually,
So
there's about 10 altogether once you get into
10.
the platform. So
All
yeah,
right. So
it
now
is.
it's coffee. So it's around the coffees. I can't say beers. It's
Exactly.
not that expensive. So, I think it's a great solution. And, even the name With Small Business, that's exactly what, and this is why Angela and I are so passionate about what we do with small businesses as well. It is lonely, but if we all get together and work smartly and take on the advice and skills and understanding, and most importantly, the pain points, right? We've been there, we've done it, we've tried the things that don't work. So instead of spending
Oh,
thousands
absolutely.
of dollars to find out it doesn't work, ask me. I'll charge you $100 and tell you that it doesn't work and why.
Yeah.
But no, I think
And also, I think
yeah,
also the challenge for small businesses is that they'll try one solution that doesn't work, and then they'll try another solution that doesn't work, and they'll try this one and they might get that to work, but then, oh, that's not great. Every time they start again with a new consultant or a new, Facebook trader or whatever, they're back at the starting line again, and our small businesses cannot afford to be doing that. So this what we've built up with this platform is people can become a member and they can get their e-commerce advice for lifetime, because digital is always changing, rather than doing this start stop, which only puts them back at at the starting gates.
100%. I'm just conscious of time. We're getting towards the end of the show, but I have
Yeah.
got a few questions that came through. I don't know if these fall within your remit, but we could definitely discuss them. So the first question that came through is, which is the best e-commerce platform to use? So I'm assuming they're talking like Shopify or WooCommerce or any of the others. Is this something that you have a view on, or is there caveats to it?
Definitely have a view. So they're both fantastic platforms. Shopify, I think, is a better suited platform for startup people that want to get to market really quickly, and intend on doing a lot of the work themselves in terms of setting up the website, ongoing management. Shopify is a more cost-efficient platform in the longer term, because you don't need to get a developer to be, doing all the tweaks and all of that kind of stuff. WordPress, WooCommerce, again, another fantastic platform. A lot more features and customizations and all of those sorts of things. But you're likely to need a developer to be making changes and all that kind of stuff. So even though you get more flex with that, it's likely to cost you more, because you're going to have to tap into a developer, more so than you would with Shopify, for example.
I agree with you 100%. So and just to confirm that, so when we built the marketplace, we had the same kind of view. Luckily, I have got developers and tech team behind me. We went the WooCommerce and WordPress front right, because we needed that customization ability. The last thing I would add in there, and this is probably something to consider at the strategic point, and maybe one of the questions that you would ask your clients and or new clients when you onboard them, is, do you need to own the website? So just to clarify the ownership aspect,
the hosting,
Shopify, you don't own the website. Your site is built within the Shopify network or platform. With WooCommerce, you actually own that product, that property. So you can move it to any server you want. If there's an acquisition or a merger, you don't lose all of that content because you now need to move it across. And for me, that was quite important, because we've built additional malls where we've literally taken all of our IP and then just reskinned it up to work with other partners. But I think the answer there, or the advice that you gave, 100% quick to market, easy, drag and drop Shopify every day of the week. But if you are or have a longer term goal where ownership is quite critical, and more importantly, you've got someone that works with you that can code, because WooCommerce can be a pain in the back end, that's for sure. I mean, that's actually quite a good pun. A pain in the back end, I must stick to that. Because when you go into the back of WooCommerce,
oh my God, that's a tech joke, right? Just like a dad joke.
I don't have my bell. I miss my bell. The bell's in the studio. I mean, actually, I had a bell app on my phone. Maybe I can still find it. But Andrew would have hit the bell. Oh, there we go. I've got it. No sound. There we go. I got my bell app.
Yay.
The last question that came through, and time-wise, the last question, is it better? This probably comes off quite nicely in what you've just said with Shopify. Is it better to sell on Amazon or build my own online store? Oh, that's a meaty one.
Yes, that is. Look, straight off the cuff, what I would say, sort of back to your point a bit with ownership, and having more control. Yes, building your own store is definitely going to be a bit more work in terms of setting it up and management, etc. It's a lot simpler to use marketplaces. However, in terms of like depends on what your long-term strategy is. I think marketplaces are a fantastic component or channel to use in e-commerce. But I would absolutely say always own your first asset, your website, your asset, own your audiences, and then you build up through digital marketing channels. And once you've nailed all of those, then going to some of those marketplaces where your brand's already got some recognition, and then utilizing what you've learnt through SEO, keywords, target audiences, etc. All of that you can apply in your marketplace, advertising. So if you just want to get up a product to make some fast cash, then for sure go the marketplace. So again, just depends on what you're looking to achieve.
All right. Well, we definitely will allow you back on the show because you've opened up a great discussion point for me. So I again agree with you 100%. You know, I looked and studied how these marketplaces and that work when we came up with the concept of building the SME mall. So we've built almost the hybrid. So this is probably something that would excite you, and based on what you've just said. We've got the marketplace where we've taken the pain away from building. We've taken the cost. There is no cost. It's free. Whereas with an Amazon or an eBay, you pay like monthly fees and so on. But more importantly, when a transaction happens, you get the notification and the email address and the phone number of the person, not the marketplace. So with Amazon, they get all the details. They have the Amazon account. They do the transaction. And if you store with them, which is 3PL, we can discuss that another day, they fulfill, or you get a notification with an address saying, please send your stuff here. What we've done is we've created that hybrid, is it will do the transaction. We don't have Afterpay, like we talked about earlier. We've got Hum, so we've even got Buy Now, Pay Later. So for people that need that, but you actually get the email. So, you know, Claudia, when you open up with small businesses store, if someone books time with you, you will get that notification with their details. So you own your customer without having to go through the pain of owning the infrastructure. And the idea is that if you grow too big for our mall, that's why we don't call it a marketplace, it's a mall, then we can help you build your own property, which we've just done with a jewelry client. So great questions. I hope that answers it. Well, I know that answers it. So there we go. We have got to the end of the show. It always goes very quickly. So thank you so much for joining me today. I can definitely
it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Brett, and thank you, Angela.
I've got the little ticker going along the bottom there showing your website. So it's withsmallbusiness.com. That's where we'll find you. And as I said, no risk, 14-day free trial. So that's pretty much us for this week. So we'll see you again next week. Until next time, keep your screens clean and your knobs shiny.